Time you want to do it. And hey, it is 10:01 on Friday, Red Friday Morning Caffeine. Dave Globin and Bill Muckler. It's my fault that we were late. I dozed off at about 9:15, and I woke up at 9:35. And Delilah, the executive producer, had already set up the laptop. We're all set and ready to go. So no drama today. We're here. We're having fun. We're live on the Dave Globin profile. We'll be live in about 1,000 Facebook groups very shortly. And we're live on the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel. Both my profile and the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel have a live chat. If you're watching over there, your comments throughout the broadcast are very welcome. Good morning, Bill. You're not in a black shirt today. You're in a...
No, I'm back in a Marine red shirt. I debated about wearing my black Marine Corps shirt today.
Okay.
Obviously, it's Red Friday, and hey, at our age, there's nothing wrong with catching a little nap every now and then. I like
15
to do
minutes
it
before the broadcast.
In fact, when this show's over, I might take a little nap.
Yeah. Well, 15 minutes before the broadcast isn't normally good. I normally, and most people know, for the Monday and Wednesday morning broadcast, tell people you can contact me up until about 9 o'clock in the morning, because at 9 o'clock in the morning, I start focusing on what I'm going to do on the broadcast. Same thing with the 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock. I'm nose deep and I'm not paying any attention to anybody who wants to be on the broadcast. That way. Good morning, Michael Anthony is in the Boogie with the Bull live chat on the Dave Globin profile. And glad to have you here. And live chat is open on the Dave Globin profile, so please come in and join there. Without further ado, we will get to this week's commentary, because Bill said in the green room he didn't actually know where to begin today. And I'm not cutting down or ranking on anybody. I really don't either. So I'm going to let you pick where we go, Bill.
Obviously, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to remember all of our young men and women who are serving our country and our armed forces that are deployed. We're going to remember them. And I, as I always do, I expand that to everybody that's in uniform on active duty today, and even those in the reserves and the National Guard. You're probably a heartbeat, 24 hours, maybe an hour away from being deployed. And it's not like when the old Marine was on active duty. We got aboard a ship and it took us 21 days to get to Vietnam. They're on an airplane and they're in the combat zone in hours, not days. So we want to make sure that they're all safe and they get home. I'm still upset, and I'm trying to contain myself over this debacle we had in Kabul in Afghanistan 3 years ago on I believe it was August 26th, when we lost 13 of our young people. They were deployed. And not only did we lose them, but there's somewhere around, 50 or more that were wounded seriously. Some of them are still being operated on and treated for their wounds from that day. And that was strictly on the Biden administration. I mean, they just completely screwed that up. I've talked many times about how the Marines performed a similar evacuation back in December 5th of 1941, getting all the Americans out of Shanghai, China, when the Japanese army was marching on Shanghai through China. The Marines know how to do this stuff. It's the politicians. When the politicians get involved, things get screwed up. Let's just face it. And unfortunately now, the higher ranks in the military services, they're all politicians now. In order to get achieve stardom, you got to be a politician now. You say, what do you mean by stardom? That means when you get a star like Brigadier General, or in the Navy, Admiral, Air Force, Army, Marine Corps, they're generals, they wear stars. Oh boy, I should have stayed in. I have a lot of good friends that have achieved stardom. I got those are my buddies, And I say, wait a minute, I'm just a captain. They said, you should have stayed in. You'd outranked all of us,
You'd
so
probably be the commandant of the Marines if you were still in.
I don't know. That might be something I'm not sure I would do a good job at. Who knows? In any case, we want to protect our men and women, and boy, we've got them all over the Mideast now, and we got carrier groups that are. We need to have them in the Pacific, in the area of China, Taiwan. We're in a mess, and it's all because of the politicians. The Biden administration has completely screwed up foreign relations, international relations with the United States. There's still an ongoing war in Ukraine. You hardly hear about that anymore, other than the fact that we just keep sending $1 billion of arms and dollars. We got this whole thing in Gaza where the Biden administration wants us to do what the Hamas leadership wants us to do. And I'm with Netanyahu on this. We got to wipe them all out. I mean, wipe every one of them out, because if you don't, they'll figure out how to get back in power. And let's talk about the 6 that were executed. 6 hostages were executed. And I think on this show, maybe about a month ago or so, Dave, I said I question even if any of the hostages are still alive.
Right.
With the way the negotiations are going on, it's almost like Hamas, they don't have any hostages to negotiate over, but apparently we know there was at least 6, and hopefully there's more. They're still alive. They were executed, and guess how they were executed? They were shot in the back of the head. That's execution style. In other words, what had to happen there? They were in these tunnels, kneel down. Somebody walks up behind you and shoots you in the back of the head, executes you. One of those was an American citizen. What are we doing about it? We're not doing anything about it. And I'm not saying that we should land the Marine Expeditionary Force or something like that on Hamas, but we got a lot of special operators that we can send in there to do something, and we can coordinate that with the IDF, who's the Israeli Defense Force. That's their army, their armed forces. Anyway, enough on that.
I was going to ask you, do you think if Kamala Harris wins, do you think she will cut ties with Israel?
Maybe she will tomorrow, and the next day she won't. And then the next day she will, and the day after that she won't. Who can predict? Who can predict what an airhead like that is going to do?
I can just hear the speech now. I cut ties with Israel yesterday because it's tomorrow. And because it's tomorrow, I had to renegotiate ties. But because 2 days ago I cut ties, I had to cut ties again.
Yeah. and why are you flip-flopping? I'm not flip-flopping. My values have never changed. What the hell's this values thing's all about? Tell me what you believe in. Don't tell me, well, my values
have any value.
What are values? I don't know what values are. Tell me what you believe in. I want to know what you believe in.
What value does she bring to the office?
Yeah. Do you believe in fracking, or do you not believe in fracking? And that's really not even the question. Do you believe in America should be energy should be energy dominant, or should we depend on Russia and Venezuela and Iran and everybody else for our energy? I think we should be energy dominant. I think we need to do this. And now, here's another thing I wanted to bring up. They keep telling us, oil production is greater now than it's ever been in the history of the country. I'd like to see those numbers. I'd like to see them because I don't see any numbers. I just hear they're better. Now I see what they say on the when they're on the campaign trail. They've created more jobs than any president in the history of the country. 16 million jobs. Well, they didn't create 16 million jobs. What happened was they put 16 million people out of work and locked them down, locked us all down, even those like you and I, as I recall, we were locked down in our condos or our apartments or our homes.
We were.
Yeah. So then, okay, now you can get out and go back to work. So now I've created a job. You didn't create a job.
Right.
That's not creating a job. That's just letting people go back to work that you should have never put out of work in the first place. Now, they keep talking about, oh, the jobs reports are so great. Well, the jobs report came out this morning because your humble servant, your guy right here, Bill Muckler's watched and checked it out. The jobs projection for August was supposed to be 160,000 jobs. It turned out actually to be 142,000 jobs. But if you recall, about a month ago, they came out with 818,000 jobs were overreported. So those jobs, I don't know how you figure that out. That's about 70,000 jobs a month or something like that they overreported. So I don't know what they're lying about.
Probably the dead Democrats they registered to vote in 2024.
So anyway, this 142,000 jobs, that might only be 70,000 jobs. Now, who's getting these jobs? Well, let me tell you who's getting these jobs. Government workers, illegal aliens.
Yep.
That's who's getting the jobs. It's not the American people. And they say, well, we're creating all these manufacturing jobs. And I saw some guy, one of Harris's spokespeople, whatever, say that Trump lost all these jobs in 2019. The manufacturing jobs were all lost because of Trump, and Harris is going to bring them back. Why didn't she bring them back in 2021 when they when they took office? They keep lying to us and telling us that everything is great, but everything is not great, and all the great things they did. But I don't see any real facts that you can go by, that you can hang your hat on, so to say. So anyway, the election's coming up in about 60 days, a couple of months, November 5th, and early voting starting next month. And I had the privilege and honor of attending a I don't know if you'd call it a conference or whatever. I didn't say anything. I just sat and listened. There's a nice Q&A. I just listened with our Highlands County, that's Florida, Highlands County election supervisor, Karen Daly, who gave a complete presentation on how they run the elections and what they go through. Boy, in Florida, we got it nailed down. Now, she said she started back in her job back in 2003. So she's been doing this for 21 years. That was after the 2000 the year debacle. Remember in Palm Beach County where they were counting the Chads and looking at all this stuff, and they've cleaned all that up ever since, especially since DeSantis has been in. Boy, they cleaned up everything. So I have total faith in the Highlands County election. Now, what she said was, she explained everything, how you fill out the ballots, how the ballots are counted, what they do with them, how they count them. Went through the entire thing. It's all according to law. Florida law dictates how these elections should be run. Unfortunately, I think there's a lot of people in blue states that don't have laws like this. So So when somebody asked, well, when do you get the results? She said, what we have in Florida is called mail-in ballots. They don't call them absentee ballots anymore. Mail-in ballots. Those mail-in ballots have to be counted by law, and they say they follow the law 100%. Have to be counted and turned in by 7:30 on election day. So the question was, well, how about all the votes that are cast on election day? When are they in by? 7:45. So 7:30 is the mail-in ballots. 7:45 is all the ballots that are cast in person that day. By 8 o'clock, Florida has the total results, and they're accurate, and you can count on them. Why can't we do that in all the states? Why? Because the politicians don't want to do it that way, because the politicians want to make sure that they can manipulate the votes. So it gets down to it's not who votes, it's who counts the votes.
Right.
Partially, Dave, you and I in Florida, we can say, hey, we trust our election system because we have people in there who follow the law, and we've got a governor who makes sure that everybody follows the law.
What do you think? Elon Musk said recently that he thought there should be no electronic voting in the 2024 election. I mean, it's probably too late to turn that off because all the states that depend on it, or don't want to break their contract with Dominion because they'd have to pay boku amounts of bucks if they do. But what do you think? Should we turn off the electronic voting once and for all and just go back to paper ballots counted by humans?
We do it with paper ballots like we do in Highlands County. In Highlands County, I can't remember which system Highlands County uses. I think there's 89 counties in Florida. You correct me on that. It's either 87 or 89. I think it's 89.
You're close enough.
Okay. I think 47 of them use Dominion equipment, and the rest of them use the equipment that they use in Highlands County. In Highlands County, they use this certain companies, and I can't remember the name of it. It's not a common name that we're used to.
Yeah.
They feel like they can rely on them 100%. Now, I just voted a few weeks ago in our primary, and I'm a paper ballot vote on election day guy. I'm 100% on that. However, I'm 89 years old now, and I'm at the point where, because of some medical problems that I have, I cannot stand in line or stand in one place for a long period of time. I get blood pressure problems. I just pass out. I don't want to pass out. It just happens. I don't even know it's happening until they pick me up off the floor and say, hey, you passed out, So I go and vote early. Here's what happens when I go to vote. I drive over to the government center in Avon Park, Florida. I kind of live on the line between Avon Park and Sebring, and that's all in Highlands County. So I go to the government center in Avon Park. I drive up. There's signs saying vote here, and they got arrows and everything. I pull in. There's parking places to park. I park. There's signs with arrows that say vote here. I walk in the door. There's a gentleman there who greets you and says, and I always wear a Marine Corps shirt or something like that because I want them to know that I'm a veteran. Maybe I'm kind of crazy about that crap. But, the guy says, good afternoon, sir. Thank you for your service. Just walk right down the hall and turn left. I go down the hall, and there's somebody else standing there. Hey, good afternoon, sir. Thank you for your service. Just step right in and go over to this desk over here. So I go over to the desk that is for the M's because I'm Muckler, right? And I show them my ID, and on my Florida ID is a picture, and there's a V on there with says veterans, and they say thank you for your service, and they have one of these electronic signing things. I sign that. and they give me a paper ballot, and I walk over and I go there, and I'm prepared. I study what the amendments are going to be beforehand. Last night at this meeting we got handouts. We got handouts on the amendments that are going to be on the ballot, and they tell us the pros and the cons and what they mean if we vote for them, what they mean if we vote against them, everything about them. So I research them, so I know what the amendments are when I go into the booth. And that's another thing she said. Don't circle the names. Don't check the names off. They have these little oval things you have to fill in. You fill those in. I fill them in. I go over to the gentleman who's at the machine, and I hand him the folder, and I take my ballot and I enter it into the machine, kind of like a copy machine. You feed it in there. My vote's done. I walk out. They give me a sticker that says I voted. I put that on my shirt and I walk out. 5 minutes later, I voted. Now, I showed them an ID card. I showed them an ID card, my Florida driver's license with my picture on and everything. Now they say, well, we can't expect people to show ID cards because that's racist. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. That's not racist. That's guaranteeing the reliability of our elections. And to say that it's racist is really, that's what's racist, because what you're saying is we think some people don't have the ability or the capability or the aptitude to be able to get an ID card and to show an ID card because they're so backward that they can't show who they are. That's crazy. Everybody's got ID cards. You have to have an ID card, to do anything in America today. And if you don't drive, you say, well, I don't drive. I don't get a driver's license. Your state and county can give you a photo ID
card.
ID card.
Just like I have.
Get one of them. They say, well, these people are living out in the sticks someplace and they don't have any transportation. That's BS. Don't fall for that. That's crazy. How do you think those people get to Walmart? And I got to tell you, they're all in Walmart every week.
Right. But why not move a precinct out to where those people live out in the sticks? I mean, my mom lives in assisted living in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and the facility that she lives in is its own precinct in Cambridge. And on election day, they come and they set up, whether it's voting machines or paper, I don't know. They come and they set up a couple of voting booths in the
facility itself.
In the banquet room somewhere. I think they turn it into a pole, and my mom takes the elevator down because she lives on whatever floor. And even if she is not feeling up to walking down, they'll send her wheelchair up and they'll roll her down.
Exactly.
So, I mean, to me, it's just ridiculous.
That's right.
If you can't get the people to the election, then we need to get the election to the people.
The whole thing is we want to cheat.
Yeah,
that's it.
It is.
Democrats want to cheat. Let's just get right out in the open. We don't need to couch the terminology or anything like that.
We don't.
They want to cheat because they know that if there was one vote for one person throughout the country, they ain't got a chance of winning an election. The only way they can win an election is by cheating. That's how they won in 2020. That's how they won in 2022. Remember the red wave?
Yeah.
What happened to that? Dave and I talked about that at great lengths. The great wave, great red wave just kind of disappeared.
I don't want to insult my my Republican friends, but I was at the beach that day and I didn't see any red wave.
There is no red wave.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, let's hope that we have a fair and honest election. I'm really concerned that somehow Harris and Walz are going to win this thing. And if they do, I just feel like our country is just. I don't know how we're going to recover from another 4 years of because it's going to be another 4 years or maybe 8 years of the last 4 years that we've had under Biden and Harris. It's just going to be an extension of that.
Right.
So that's what we're going to get. Okay, let's talk about the people who get the jobs, the illegal aliens, the invaders. I always call them invaders.
Yep.
I talked with someone in Denver because I wanted to find out what's this whole deal going on about breaking into these, taking over these apartment complexes in Aurora, Colorado. Now, if you've ever been to Denver, you know anything about Denver. Denver is a metropolitan area, and to the east and southeast of Denver is Aurora. To the west is places like Arvada and so forth. So those are the surrounding cities or towns that surround Denver. If you've ever been there and you drive through, you cannot tell the difference between being in Aurora and being in Commerce City or being in Denver, because it's just one continuous metroplex.
Okay.
So anyway, the illegals the invaders have taken over Denver. The largest hospital, the best hospital in Denver. I don't know if it's the best hospital, but one of the most renowned hospitals in Denver had to shut down because they went bankrupt, because they provided free medical care to so many invaders over the last few years that they never got paid for, the government didn't reimburse them for, that the hospital actually shut down. So that hospital is not in existence anymore. It's just shuttered. So now the invaders, especially the Venezuelans, they're moving into places like Aurora because that's right next door. They're called Tren de Aragua. Now, what that is Aragua is the county that is in Venezuela, or the region, if you want to call it that, kind of like state, in which Caracas is in. And this gang, that's their headquarters. So they use in their name the place where they actually came from in Venezuela. They've moved in and they're taking over these apartment complexes. Now, when I said I talked to someone who I consider 100% reliable, who's an operations manager of a company that's involved in the medical field, just to give you a little bit of background.
Okay.
And they have, he has about 25 vehicles on the road all the time, transporting supplies, and they pick up blood work, and take it to the labs. They do all this kind of stuff. They have box trucks too. He's gone out and he's found a device that he can lock up the batteries on the box trucks, because guess what? Every night the invaders go in and they steal the batteries from the box trucks. They haul them back to wherever they live in, if it's a mobile home or an RV or whatever it is, and they use that battery to generate their electricity. Well, it only lasts for a day or two. Then they got to go out and steal more batteries. So he's got to stop that. Now, the other thing is, his drivers are on the road and they're having all types of accidents. Well, what they're doing is the invaders they steal cars, they take off the license plates. When they have an accident with a car, whether it's a commercial vehicle like a delivery van or car or whatever like that, they just hit and run and they leave, and there's no license plate. So the insurance costs and the cost of repairs and everything for their vehicles is going sky high.
Yep.
And all this is because the Biden administration has allowed all these invaders to come in, and they promised them all this stuff, and now they've run out of services because they don't have enough money for all of them. They don't have the hospitals because the hospitals have closed down. So what's happening, and this is coming to all the cities, not just Denver. I'm just using that as an example because we saw that they're taking over these apartment complexes. They come in and take over an apartment, and so the people move out, and they have to go someplace else to live. And it's crazy what's happened in this country. I guess probably about 6 months ago, I did an article and a show, and I don't know if we talked about it or not, Dave, but I called it the United States of Calcutta. Our United States is becoming like Calcutta in India.
Third world nation.
And here's the deal on Calcutta. Calcutta was really a pretty nice city. It's British controlled and everything until about 100 years ago. And what happened was they let all the invaders come in from the outer regions and everything, come in and settle in the city, and they kind of took over the entire region. So now it's a cesspool. So you say, well, that's India, that's Calcutta. No, that was because they allowed the people to come in and take over their city. That's what's happening here in America. They came in, we see them on TV. They're in New York, they're in LA, they're in Denver, they're in Chicago. And what's the common denominator? Democrat Party, the Biden administration. Kamala Harris is going to continue the same thing.
I wonder if she's going to go even more to the left, because rumor has always been that she's farther to the left than Joe Biden is. And maybe, it doesn't matter how far Joe Biden was, because the puppet masters were telling him how far to go.
Kamala Harris is a total airhead. You can tell by talking. I don't know if her IQ is even approaches room temperature. Anyway, she's going to do what she's told to do.
Right.
And I think that's probably the cause for some of this flip-flopping, is because she's just doing what they're telling her to do. Yeah. And they're kind of floating all these ideas, which are really pure economic hell. For example, we're going to give $25,000 for first-time home buyers to buy homes.
It's up now. It's $150,000 now. They're talking about. Yeah, it's crazy. Well,
this is what happens when the government gets involved. A good analogy for this is college student loans. And when the government got involved in giving college students government loans, we saw what happened. The price of going to college went from practically nothing to an astronomical amount. Right. And so now there's trillions of dollars in debt that nobody can afford. So now the Democrats, who caused this problem in the first place, now want to solve it by bailing everybody out. And I'm against bailouts, because if you fail, you fail. Start over and figure out how to do it right. Anyway,
that's certainly giving it away for free.
Yeah,
isn't. I mean, I guess at the core of that principle, I believe that education should be free. There should be public schools. There should be public colleges and universities, because not everybody can afford to go to Stanford. Not everybody can afford to go to Harvard. Not everybody can afford to go to Brandeis. Pick out other schools. Not everybody can afford to go to Wellesley College like Oprah and Hillary Clinton did, and I understand that. And that's okay to me, because as a capitalist, you look for the best investment for your money. But at the same time, the people who don't have money, everyday American citizens that are that just don't have it and have to want to send their kids to college. It should be affordable, and there should be an option that's just as good as the private schools. It won't always be just as good, but it should be. We owe our kids.
Why should I pay for your kids to go to college?
Right.
Why? Right. Because that's what you're saying. You're
saying
no. We got to make it free for everybody.
I disagree 100% with someone who went to pick the top medical school in the country. Brandeis Brandeis does a lot of medical pre-med. Stanford is probably one of the best medical schools in the country. Boston University has stuff all over Boston. Other states and cities do as well. If you went to Stanford and you graduated with a doctorate in brain surgery, and you're working as a brain surgeon and you're making beaucoup bucks, there's no reason why you should not be paying back your student loan.
Well, why should anybody have a student loan in the first place?
Well, this is true.
Why should the government give loans to people who go to college? Why? And then the question is, Dave, why are you saying that everybody should be able to go to college? I don't think anybody should have to go to college.
The government, right? I agree. No. I agree with you that the government should not have backed student loans and said that if they're not paid, we will, which means the taxpayers will. I have a good friend of mine who is in the student loan business, has an office across the street from Meadowlands in New Jersey, and he has an office in Waltham. That's how I met him, up in Waltham, Mass. He probably stands to lose, I don't know, billions of dollars, because the Biden administration keeps saying to college students that may have borrowed money from him, you don't have to pay him back. I've said before, if Joe Biden came into my office and I had Dave Glovin Student Loan Company and said, your clients don't have to pay you back, I'd say, you better get out of here before you get hurt, because I got a company. I pay people. We laid out this money for people who we thought were able to pay us back, and you're saying they don't have to. That's wrong. I grew up in California.
Dave, wait a minute. Yeah, you made your point, but that's not what's happening.
Right.
The people who gave the loans, they're getting paid back. It's the taxpayers who didn't go to college. They're paying the taxes to the government, and the government is paying those loans off.
Right.
That's the problem.
That's 100%
the problem is the government should not be involved in education.
Right.
Period. The federal government.
Right.
The local, county, and state should govern the education of their students.
Right. One of the best things Ronald Reagan did when he was governor
should not be allowed to go to college unless they can pay for it themselves or get their own loans, but not with the government guaranteeing these loans.
You're 100% right.
Every time the government gets involved, we saw the disaster this occurred. I went to college. It cost me $1,000 a year to go to college. The education I got was the same education that they got 5 years after me, 10 years after me, 20 years after me. But it costs 20, 30, 40 times more to get that education.
You're right.
Now to go to the University of Missouri, it doesn't cost $1,000. It costs $40,000 or $33,000 a year to go there. And what's different? The students still get there. They go to classes. They get 120 credit hours to get their degree. It's all the same. It's just that now it costs 30, 40 times
No. You're right. The prices are out of control.
My point is, keep the government out of everything. So
I think one of the best things Governor Reagan did, Ronald Reagan, when he was governor of California, was help create the community college system. And there was no, I went to school, I got my AA in broadcasting. There were a couple of classes that I had to pay for. I think I paid $300 a year for my broadcasting classes. And that was just because the college owned the radio station and they had to have some income to operate it. So, that to me was reasonable. But no, where you're going in and you're borrowing money to go to school and you're not paying it back on purpose, and we the citizens are paying it back through all kinds of taxes. Yes, that is 100% wrong. I still believe in, like what you said, in, I don't remember which one of the 2020 books it's in, you can tell me, but you believe that the Department of Education in Washington, D.C. should be shut down, boarded up, and it should go back to the states. That was something we talked about last night on Thursday Night Live. I even quoted that you have said it before. I don't believe that the federal government has any business telling the states how they should operate education in their states.
Okay, here's the foundation for that. Education is one of the chapters in my first 2020 book. I researched all this and I've lived through all this. I'm not just throwing this out, see if it'll stick on the wall or coming up with some kind of brainstorm. I researched all this. I studied the history of it. I studied the background. I did cost-benefit analysis. I did root cause analysis. I did everything you can think of. Okay, Department of Education. Up until 1979, when Jimmy Carter was president, there was no Department of Education. The United States did not have a Department of Education. Test scores for our students at that time were number one in the world in everything, math, science, reading, everything you can think of were number one.
Right.
No Department of Education. The federal government, the politicians came up with the idea, we're going to create a Department of Education. Jimmy Carter, one of the worst presidents this country ever had, signed the bill into law, creating the Department of Education, which they promised us. Democrat Congress, Democrat Senate, Democrat President promised us the Department of Education would help us become even better, our students become better educated. They would continue to be number one in the world in all test scores. And all we would need was a budget of about $3 to $5 billion a year, and we would need about 3,000 or 4,000 employees in the Department of Education. Now, the Department of Education has got about 60,000 employees, up from 3,000 employees in 1979. We've got a budget of around $80 billion a year. That's just for the federal bureaucracy. That's not anything for education. That's just for the Department of Education, as opposed to 4,000 in 1979. We went from 4,000 to 80,000. Our test scores have gone from number one to now they're in the 30s in math and science and everything that we should be leading the world in. We're now sucking behind third world countries as far as test scores are concerned. Man, places like Singapore, they're like number one. You think, wait a minute, how come Singapore is number one or number four or whatever, and the United States is number 31? Because we got a Department of Education. We didn't have it before. And in education, we spend hundreds of billions of dollars a year in education for our students, of which about 50% of that money goes to the bureaucracy and 50% goes to actual instruction. This is why I say get the federal government out of education, let it be handled on a local basis where the parents can handle it. And what I'm saying is, in my 2020 book, the solution is give every parent a voucher. Every year they get a voucher. They can send their kids to whatever school they want to send them to. Let the schools compete for the students.
Yeah.
In other words, privatize everything. Get rid of public education. Privatize everything. Make it all competitive. And you say, well, how do we know they'll get a good education? Well, if they're not getting a good education, you don't use your voucher to send them to that school. Use your voucher to send them to a school that will give them a good education.
Yep.
Let them compete for it. And boy, when you got entities competing with each other, they're going to be damn good because they want the bucks coming in.
Now, what happens to parents who want to homeschool, like Jen Woodruff? Can she use that voucher to homeschool?
I got a whole section of that chapter is devoted to homeschooling. I am 100% for homeschooling, and I think if you give a voucher, say $10,000 a year to a student to go to a private school, the parents who homeschool should get that same $10,000 in the homeschool.
Our grandson
and I came up with so many ways, and I'm sure Jen could probably expand on that, of ways to do it. Homeschooling doesn't necessarily mean one mom homeschools one person. You can have a neighborhood of maybe 3 or 4 moms who share in this, and maybe nobody has the expertise in, say, biology, and you want to teach biology. So you get a contractor, a teacher to come in and teach biology one time a week, or whatever.
Even with the parents,
1 hour a day.
Even with the parents, I've heard of homeschool co-ops where someone knows history, so on Monday he teaches history. Someone knows math really well, so on Tuesday or Wednesday the whole group goes over and learns math. Our son is homeschooled, and our daughter-in-law and our son put together the curriculum that he studies, and our son is a history magnet. I mean, just knows. And our daughter-in-law is math. And every year our grandson has to go before somebody in the public schools and be tested to show that he's learning, and he routinely beats the level of his grade in the public school. And
so I had the privilege of going through a Catholic parochial school. One school. My parents moved when I was 3 years old. They never moved again. So I went to the same school. Then I was accepted into a Catholic boys' school that was a junior ROTC school where we wore uniforms every day to school. I went there for 4 years, graduated from there. Then I went to University of Missouri and graduated from there. And since then, I've been homeschooling myself. I didn't just come up with, wasn't born with this stuff. I've been studying and researching this stuff going back to the 1950s. So when
before most of us were even here,
I just didn't dream this stuff up.
I know.
I studied it. So anyway, boy, we're really getting. We covered a lot of things, and so here's what I want to cover too.
Okay.
On the news yesterday, really sad. A young 14-year-old boy in Winder, Georgia, and I know this area well because I did some consulting projects in Athens and Gainesville, and this is about halfway between that, about an hour east of Atlanta. Took an AR-15, at least they say it was an AR-style weapon, because they got to get that in there and make sure that this is another reason why we have to take guns away from the law-abiding citizens. Kid goes in, shoots, and kills 2 teachers, 2 fellow students, and wounds another 8. And they capture him. Normally, what happens, the outcomes of these is the shooter usually either gets shot and killed or kills themselves or whatever. This kid is unharmed. So he was in court today. So I wanted to make sure I saw this. And this particular court, they allowed the TV cameras in the court in Barrow County, Georgia. So I watched this, and the judge gave him read rights to him, explained everything to him, and scheduled their first court date preliminary hearing for I think it was December 4th of this year. Well, that's a long way off. Let's see. This is September, so October, November, December. That's 3 months that Kid's going to be sitting in jail, I guess, getting ready for a preliminary hearing. It's pretty obvious to me that he's guilty. But in any case, that's for the courts to figure out. Then right after that, they brought the father in. The last name is Gray, Gray. I think the kid's name was Colt Gray. Father's name is Colin Gray, and that's enough. We won't mention those names again because we don't want to give them any publicity. But anyway, they read him his rights and everything, and did everything, and told him everything, and read what the charges were and everything. And if this guy's found guilty in all charges, he faces a maximum of 180 years in prison. And I was watching the guy's body language. There's something wrong with this guy, but I'm not going to pass judgment. I'll let the psychiatrist figure that one out. But he sat there the whole time going like this. The whole time he was in court, the whole time the judge was talking to him, the whole time that his attorney talked to him. Sat there like this. That's kind of unusual behavior, and just his body language, and you can hear him, some stuff on the microphone in the background if you pay real close attention. I'll let other people figure that one out. Anyway, so he went through that, and his preliminary hearing is also December 4th of 2024, 3 months from now. Now, let's talk about more court cases. This is one I should have let off with, Dave. Hunter Biden goes to court yesterday and pleads guilty.
You must have been reading my mind because I was just about ready to ask you about that.
Let me tell you what you won't hear on the news. This is my expert legal opinion on this.
Okay.
What he did was it's an offered guilty plea. Okay. In other words, he's offering that he's guilty, that he knows that he's not going to be able to win this case, but he's not admitting that he actually was guilty. He's just saying, I'm going to go along with the courts on this. Now, I think I know why they're doing this. If you remember about a year or so ago, Judge Noriega stopped this whole thing and said, wait a minute, you can't give this guy lifetime immunity off of anything that he ever does for the rest of his life. So anyway, that stopped the whole plea process that was in place then and started this whole new process where the Department of Justice had to actually try him,
Right.
So now I think the reason why Hunter Biden went in and said, I'm guilty, is because if they would have went through an entire trial and the Department of Justice, I call them the Department of Injustice, they can turn that down. They can reject that and have him go through a trial. But if he goes through a trial, I think what's going to come out in the trial is we're going to find out that Joe Biden is the guy who's really is guilty. Yeah. We all know Joe Biden is guilty, but we don't have a way of proving that. I think if they go through a trial, that'll happen. So in order to protect Joe Biden, Hunter Biden is saying I'm guilty. So now they're going to have they'll have a sentencing for him, and that'll probably be after the election.
It's December 8th. It's December 16th, 17th, or 18th. I don't remember,
exactly,
but it is in December. But my other question is, did he plead guilty maybe with an understanding that if Kamala wins,
he's
going to get a party?
No, you're in the Looney Tunes area now. That's got nothing to do with anything.
Okay.
He's Kamala Harris has nothing to do with this, period.
No. I'm just saying that he wants to protect.
They don't even want her involved in this.
I'm just saying he wants to protect his father. So yes,
this is all about protecting his father. So none of the bad stuff that his father did is going to come out in this trial. So then going back to December 16th or whatever date that is in December after the election, he's sentenced, then what Joe Biden can do is he can pardon him, and so he'll never have to spend any time in jail or pay any fines or anything like that. He'll be set free.
Let me
so this way, the Bidens have manipulated the system so they get off scot-free of everything that they did over the last who knows how many years.
But are there Democrats out there that have a conscience?
No.
Okay.
No.
Or are there voters out there that have a conscience that might?
Democrats don't have a conscience.
Okay, but are there then voters out there, American citizen voters, that have a conscience that might say it's absolutely wrong for a president to pardon?
No. They don't care. If they're a D, they're a D. They go along with everything because the D's go by one thing and one thing only: the end justifies the means. So we don't care how guilty you are, what you did, what crimes you commit, as long as the end result ends up that we're in power. And the Bidens don't give a damn about what anybody thinks anyway. They're only in it for themselves. And you know that they're only in it for themselves because now all they're talking about is Trump is for himself and the Democrats are all for the people. Well, we know when they keep talking about that, it's just the opposite of what it should be.
It is. I read yesterday that unfortunately President Trump is pulling campaign resources from 3 states that he boasted he could beat Biden in because Kamala Harris is now the nominee, and she's doing better in those 3 states. I know Virginia and New Hampshire were one of them. I forget the third one. But I thought New Hampshire was a Republican state. So
no, it's been Democrat for going all the way back. I think the last time a Republican won there was Bush won it in 2004. We're going back to Reagan on New Hampshire. No. But New Hampshire's it's only 3 electoral votes.
Oh, okay.
So New Hampshire doesn't make any difference.
Okay.
When you're talking about North Carolina, now you're talking about something like 20 electoral votes or whatever.
Right. So like Virginia, is that
a lot?
Is Virginia a small number of votes? Electoral votes?
Virginia's a big state.
Because that's one he's saying that, it doesn't make sense because Kamala Harris is probably going to take those 3 votes from it.
Now, here's another thing. I've worked in these areas. I've lived in this area. Actually, I lived in Quantico, Virginia for a year. That whole area of Virginia around Washington, D.C. is like the swampland, and around it is Maryland to the west, kind of to the west. I'm just generalizing now. It's not exactly geographically accurate. And Virginia's kind of to the east and southeast, and then West Virginia's kind of up there in the northwest part of it. That's a huge metropolitan area. That's a huge urban area. That area is really big. So that's why Virginia goes Democrat, is because all those people live in that area, they're all government workers. They're all protecting their turfs. If you get down into Virginia, like where I worked in Virginia, in the coal mines and places like that, they're not Democrats, but there's more population in the northern part of Virginia adjacent to Washington, D.C., and they're very heavily Democrat. And that's where, remember, we saw all these problems with the school boards and remember they were having the hearings with the school boards and the about guys' daughters getting raped by transgender males and all that. That's all Northern Virginia. That's that whole cesspool of government workers and government contractors in Virginia who rely on the federal government, who vote for the D's, and that. So if the government of Virginia. What's his name? Junkin or whatever his
John
name is.
John Kennedy is yeah, John Kennedy is a senator from there.
No. John Kennedy's from Louisiana.
Okay. Maybe okay.
Tim Kaine and
Okay.
is the senator, and the other senator from Virginia is Warner.
That's right.
Warner and Kaine are the senators. Yeah, I even know who the senators from all these different states are. I'm going nuts. My head is going to explode.
No,
Dave,
Looney
speaking
Tunes
of
for me.
exploding, it's 10 o'clock. I mean, 11 o'clock.
Yep.
I can't even tell time anymore.
That's all right. I get you all wound up and then I send you home.
Anyway, I think we covered just about everything we can cover.
We did.
The only thing we didn't cover is the fact that Bobby Kennedy is on the ballot in North Carolina, and now North Carolina has got early voting, and they've got 2 million ballots printed with Bobby Kennedy's name on it, and now they're trying to figure out. We can't send them out with his name on it, but we can't. We have to send them out because we don't have time to print 2 million more ballots. So the politicians have got everything screwed up in North Carolina as well.
He said something the first time. I think he stood before the cameras and said, "This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to suspend my campaign and I'm going to endorse Trump." Yeah. But he said in that speech, he said, "My name will still be on the ballot." I'm paraphrasing. He said, "My name will still be on the ballot in some states. And if it is, you should vote for me." And I have to me.
What he's saying is he wants everybody to vote for Trump in the battleground states, but in the other states, it doesn't make any difference who you vote for because they're going to vote for Democrats anyway, right? So whether they vote for him or they vote for Harris, it's not going to make any difference. Trump can't win those states. Trump can't win New York, so he's okay staying on the ballot there. But he doesn't want anybody in the battleground states. That's the 7 states: Arizona, Nevada, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Atlanta. See, I know my geography too. In those states, Bobby Kennedy wants everybody to vote for Trump. Now, another one, and boy, we're taking this too long. I'm really impressed with Tulsi Gabbard. Yep. I could have seen her as being a vice president nominee instead of before Vance was picked. I'm not saying anything about Vance. I'm totally okay with Vance, but I could have seen Tulsi Gabbard would have been great. I could serve under Tulsi Gabbard as commander in chief of this country. I can serve under J.D. Vance. I can serve under Trump. I cannot serve under Harris or Walz or Biden.
Yeah. Right. You're 100%
okay.
Right.
That includes this Fridays.
It is always a pleasure to have you on. I want you to stay for just a moment because I'm gonna plug the books, and I have to get to a different screen so I can do that. Wait a minute. Oh, actually, I got it memorized. So if I can't get to that screen because all of a sudden it's not letting me to that screen. Anyway, I will tell you the books are 2020, A Clear Vision for America, 2020, A Clear Vision for Our Future. I believe 2020, A Clear Vision for America was written in 2015. I think the other one was written in 2018. 6 Soft Targets, the novel. If you haven't gotten it yet and read it, I think it's Bill's idea of the planning, the blueprint, as he calls it, whatever went into planning 9/11. And I've only read the first 5 chapters, and I put it in a box, and I haven't found it yet, which is really ticking me off because now I have time to read it, and I can't find it to read more. If you read it, you'll understand more about what went into and happened with 9/11. It's a $20 unit.
I was on Amazon, and I noticed that I got a couple of reviews on Amazon, and one of them is from a very famous and reputable author from Perth, Australia. Perth is on the far western coast of Australia. That's like 2,000 miles or more away from where Sydney and Melbourne are. He wrote this fantastic review. I mean, it's a long page long. He sent me an email. He said, Bill, you've got to find somebody to market your book. He said, everybody in the world needs to read this book.
They do.
So anyway, next week we'll talk about that, and I'll tell you what's in his review, and I'll actually get his email up, and actually I can forward. I don't have your email address, Dave, but anyway,
I'll send it to you after the broadcast.
Yeah, I can forward that email to you so you can see that. I'm not blowing smoke over this. I'm just blown away.
Good.
That here's a guy, and this guy's a famous author. I mean, boy, he cranks them out, and his books are good. I mean, they are really good, well written.
Good. So 2020, a clear vision for our future. 2020, a clear vision for America. Those, I call them the Conservative Patriot Broadcasters Bible. Go in and read them. As I said last night, I'll say it again tonight. The information in them is spot on from when he wrote the books, spot on today, as the books are still out there. 6 Soft Targets, the novel, which will take you through maybe what actually happened on 9/11. We're going to talk about 6 Soft Targets next Wednesday on Wednesday Morning Caffeine. Bill, if you're around, you're more than welcome to come join us. But it's going to be 9/11, the whole hour and a half, 2 hours, Wednesday the 11th. If you're around, you're more than welcome.
Send me the link, and I'll look for it if I can. Okay. I'm trying to remember what's on my schedule for next week.
Okay.
Other than some doctor's appointments and some other things.
I'll send you the information. We'll go to Bill Muckler's Facebook profile, and you can read up on the promos for the books. Is your website up and running yet?
It's still up, but the new version of it is still under construction. And there again, it's like when you have volunteers, you can't really say, "Hey, you got to get this done right now," So, but actually, I'm paying a lot of money for this, but I'm getting a family discount. It's my son and his good buddy who has an internet company that does websites, whatever you call them.
All right, so go to the Bill Muckler Facebook page, and if you want to order the books, the 2020 books are a $25 donation, which includes shipping. 6 is a $20 donation, which includes shipping. Self-published and very well written. I did talk to Bill the other day, and as soon as we finish going through 6 Soft Targets, we will go back to the 2020 books, and each week Bill will pick a chapter that he wants us to read before next Friday, and that following Friday we will discuss that chapter, and hopefully everyone who has the books will join in the conversation. If you don't have the books, buy the books. I haven't found anybody who has bought the books and read the books and said it wasn't worth buying. Everybody loves them, speaks very highly of Bill. So all I can tell you is 6 Soft Targets is 300 pages. If you're an established reader, I bet you could read the book in a day, in a few hours. It'll take me a little bit longer. But that's what we're doing. We talk politics plus whatever comes out of our mouths. That's our kind of trademark here on Red Friday Morning Caffeine. We're live on Facebook, on my profile with a live chat. We're live on the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel with a live chat. We have Bill, and it's just a hearty, robust conversation. I'm glad we do it every week. I look forward to it every week. Anything else, Captain Muckler?
God bless America.
All right, Bill. Thank you very much. We'll see you next Friday.
You're welcome.
All right. Bill Muckler, like I said, the 2020 books, A Clear Vision for America, A Clear Vision for Our Future. Go to Bill's Facebook page. $25 for that set. I did forget that Bill writes a very nice note in each book to you. If you're buying them for yourself or if you're giving a gift, he will write that same note to the person you're giving them to. And just an all-around great guy. Retired Marine captain. You know him as an author. He hosted the Bill Muckler Show every Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. It followed our Boogie with the Bull broadcasts on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. We brought Bill back for Red Friday morning. Like I said, I look forward to it every week. And just hope that you will as well. And you'll come and watch and learn. And you always have the opportunity to share your opinion. I want to do one last thing before we send everybody home from school today and clear that. Give it a few seconds, come back, look at it again. 126 people are watching live. I want to thank you very much. If I knew who you were, I would name every single one of you. I know that if I scroll back up like I always do at the end, Mama D watched. Melinda Brown Fortney watched. She had to leave. She watched the rest of it later. SOS Trish Schultz watched. Like to have her watch. And anybody who says they love me is not a bad person. We get a little bit loony on some of our broadcasts, and Bill is good at keeping me controlled. Michael Anthony, who joined me last night on Thursday Night Live for a little bit, was watching, and then I go back over to this one and look to see, and that's pretty much who was watching. 126 of you were watching. Very, 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 very happy. If you watched and you liked it, please put that emoticon on it and do me a favor. Take it and share it all over Facebook. Take it and share it off of Facebook. You can share the Facebook version, or you can go over to the YouTube channel and share the YouTube channel version of it, which I actually prefer. If you're going to share it off the internet, I prefer you go over to the YouTube channel and subscribe and like and support us being over there on YouTube. Not to make the money, but just trying to build a bigger following on YouTube, because you never know, one day we might not be on Facebook and we might still be on YouTube, and you might have to watch us over there. Who knows? I'm not going to bore you with any of that stuff. It's Friday. Go out there and have a great weekend. Make sure you talk to your family, your mother, your father, your sister, your brother. And if you get a chance, see them, visit them over the weekend if you can, because that is important too. Everybody make sure you are registered and vote. Like I say on the broadcast, I don't care what party you register for, or even if you can register, decline to state or independent, whatever they call it, where you are. I don't care. Register and vote, and only vote once, but please register and vote. That's your say about what's going on in this country. And if you don't vote, or you screw up and vote more than once, whatever you want to say, if you cheat, whatever, or you don't vote at all, you can't bitch, because your vote, your one vote, might be the one vote that gets President Trump elected, which I'm hoping happens. And it gets sad when we hear that he's kind of turning it off in states, because Kamala Harris might carry those states, because Joe Biden was carrying those states. You know, people, you get who you vote for, okay? I said it before. I don't think Kamala Harris did anything in the Senate while she was a senator that was worthy of making her vice president. I don't think she did anything as vice president that was worthy of making her president, especially being our border czar. Because the only thing she did being our border czar was make sure they didn't close the border. They didn't secure the border, so more illegals can't get in. I have said it before, and I'll say it again. If you live outside of the United States and there's an American embassy in your country and you want to come here and you want to experience the American dream, there's a right way to go about doing it. The wrong way is getting to Mexico, getting up to Mexico's north border, hop, skipping, jumping, and swimming, and stepping on American soil where there is no border to keep you out, and coming in here illegally. Okay? As Bill said, the pots of gold at the end of your rainbow are drying up and you're not getting what you're promised, and that's not the point anyway. I'm a firm believer if you want to be here, you and your family, come here legally, get a job, pay taxes. That's what Americans do. They grow up, they get jobs, they pay taxes, they get married, they have families, they grow up, pay taxes, get jobs, have families, and that's what we do because America works when America works. So don't let us lose jobs to illegal immigrants who were brought in here for whatever reason the Biden administration wanted them here and will continue to be here if Kamala Harris wins. The Democrats in this election need to hit the walls. Even Jeff Walz, Tim's brother, doesn't have kind words for Tim becoming vice president. Like I said, next Wednesday is November 11th. We will talk about November 11th on the broadcast, plus whatever else comes out of our mouths. But the focus point is going to be 9/11. We will talk about Bill's book, 6 Soft Targets. If you are a broadcaster on social media that is going to talk about 9/11, if your broadcast is on Facebook, even if it isn't, if you want to be on the broadcast, let me know by 9 a.m. next Wednesday, the 11th. I'm sorry, my brain farted there. Let me know, and we will get you worked in. There are only 7 guest cameras available. If they're full, then we may have to rotate people in and out to make sure everybody that wants to be on the broadcast gets to be on the broadcast. And I hope so if you can't get on the broadcast or don't want to be on the broadcast but want to write a portion of the broadcast, please do that. Send it to me on Messenger, send it to me however you want, an email, and we will print it out, we will use it, and we will credit you for that portion of the broadcast that you sent. We're doing a lot of changes here on Boogie with the Bull. We're trying to move it up a notch to not just pity party broadcasts as other broadcasters do, or just not doing the best to provide the most accurate information to you all the time. We want you to think about what you hear, what you see on a Boogie with the Bull broadcast, and then make the decisions for yourself. And it's tough because on November 5th, we have a presidential election like no other presidential election in history. We have a president who wants to come back and fix things that a president somehow got elected and hasn't done anything, and brought illegal immigrants in and has taken care of them better than he has taken care of Americans who pay his salary, who pay the bills to run this country, who are taking care of those illegal immigrants. It's all got to stop. It really just has to stop. America first. Make America great again. Make America first again. If you want to come here from another country, like I said, come here legally. Get on a pathway to being a citizen. Do your best. And one day you will become a naturalized American citizen, which to me is just as good as an American citizen. And Not asking for world dominance, just asking that we be respected. No more of this. Hamas kidnaps Americans in some country doing their job representing America or just living there because that's where they want to live. No more of that. No more of that. And if that's what Hamas is going to do in other countries, well, then maybe we need to treat Hamas the same way. We need to start kidnapping Hamas and killing them. And that's a terrible thing for me to say. I'm a Jew. I'm very proud of being a Jew, a 62-year-old Jew. And I've always felt in my life the best way to work out differences is to sit at the table, break bread together, and discuss it. We may not leave the table anymore agreeing with each other, but at least we respect each other and work together for the benefit of being American citizens and getting our country to where we need to be. We can argue things that go on in America every day that are 100% wrong. Price gouging is just wrong, regardless of what you are, who you are, what business you're in, what things you make, what services you give. Stores, retailers, gas stations, oil companies. There is no reason to be price gouging anybody, especially gas companies. We have so much oil under the ground that by the time all of us are dead and gone, that generation will still have more oil underground than they can use. And when they're gone, there will be more oil underground than they can use, because that's God's prophecy and that's what he did. We should not be importing oil and selling gas at many much more than we should to hardworking everyday Americans. If you want to take your gas and put it on the open market, send it to Europe, yeah, price gouge them all you want, because ours is the best. Price gouge them all you want. But here in the United States of America, no, fair prices need to be on everything. My dad, when he was in the coffee bar business, his belief was cost plus 100%, cost plus 150% if he could get it. And he was still in line with most of his big chain competition like Bon Pan and Star Fox. Maybe even with Panera Bread. That's the kind of thing my dad was. Didn't go as far into the food item menus that Panera Bread had, but you know, they're still not a truly expensive price of coffee. You get the Star Fox, yeah, it's crazy, you know. But anyway, I have come to the end of the broadcast. 11:24. I thank everybody who watched. I thank everybody who does watch. If you didn't catch the entire broadcast, wait about 15 minutes for it to post everywhere that we shared it and on my profile, and come back and watch the whole thing. And while you're there, please share it. Please share it on Facebook. The only way we're going to be allowed to stay here on Facebook, if anything happens that we shouldn't be here on Facebook, is that I can show Facebook that maybe 1,000 people a week are watching each broadcast, because that's usually sometimes where it grows. We'll start with over 100 watching one broadcast, and 24 to 48 hours later, it's in threes. Sometimes it gets up to the fours, the fives. Sometimes with the right guests, we get up to 1,000 within 24 hours. And sometimes in a week, we get close to 1,000 views on each broadcast. So like the broadcast if you watch them. Don't like the broadcast if you don't like them. Please, if you watch a broadcast and you disagree with everything I said or anything anybody said or what you read in the live chat, please let me know, and let me know why. And if you ever disagree with anything I said on a broadcast, you're more than welcome to come on to a broadcast, and we'll have a calm, pleasant, rational conversation where you can tell me why you disagreed with me, and I can tell you why I think you shouldn't have disagreed with me. you like what I say, you're more than welcome to come and be part of the family. Monday and Wednesdays on Boogie with the Bull Morning Caffeine at 10 a.m. Eastern. The link is usually on the screen. You're more than welcome to come on if the link is working and be a part of the broadcast. Tuesday, Thursday nights, same thing. The link will be on the screen as long as there's a camera open, or we can free up a camera for you. You are always welcome to come on to the broadcast. Fridays, it's just me and Bill. And a lot of people over the year have gotten upset about that. But Friday, it's just me and Bill. And me and Bill like it that way. So it's going to continue being me and Bill. And so be a part of the live chat as the broadcasts go every Friday morning at 10 a.m. So we are done. There's a possibility that my wife and our daughter-in-law will be doing a craft fair tomorrow at Jacksonville Beach. If they are, we will probably sneak on and do a Boogie with the Bull broadcast and promote the hello out of that and try to get people out there. Please go to Willow's Craft Corner here on Facebook. I believe it's a group. It may be a page. Look it up either way. Willow's Craft Corner and Family Treasures. That's Donna's page. It's a tan and white checked, I call it, tan and white checked kitchen. I mean, chicken is the profile picture so that you know that you're in the right group. And take a look around. You'll see tons of beautiful handcrafted crochet items that are available. If they're not, if you don't see them in the colors that you want, you can special order them. One of my favorites is the octopus that she made. I haven't named him yet. He's red, white, and blue octopus. But he sits on the desk and he watches me do the broadcast. She did make bombs, but she didn't put the red F on them for F bombs. So I don't know if those will ever happen. A couple other things. Boogie with the Bull, white 20-ounce ceramic mug. Jen Woodruff put the wording on it. Boogie with the Bull uncensored. Randy Griesenbeck created the red, white, and blue logo for us. You can order them from Jen Woodruff. They're $20. It's $10 for the mug because they make them one at a time, and it's $10 to ship it. I don't make any money off the mug, but if you want a mug, please buy a mug. And show everybody that it's a truly bipartisan mug. If you're a leftist, communist, socialist, Democrat that's going to vote for Kamala Harris, you hold it in your left hand. And if you're a conservative Republican that hopes to make America great again and keep America first, you hold it in your right hand, and it works for you. Truly bipartisan mug. Contact Jen Woodruff if you want one of those. I'm working on a black mug, a black ceramic mug, 20 ounce, that will have a white bull doing its business with a red slash on it. No bullshit. That's coming out, and we will make some pennies off of that. Just because we will make some pennies off of that. I can buy the cups, very affordable, and I can have the vinyl put on them, very affordable. And so I might make a few pennies off of that, because that's my mug. Anyway, thank you for watching Boogie with the Bull. It's 11:30, so we're going to end right now, an hour and 28 minutes into the broadcast. You've been watching Boogie with the Bull Red Friday Morning Caffeine, a copyrighted presentation of the No Budget Broadcasting Company. If you want, any broadcasters are welcome to use any portion of the hour and 30-minute broadcast. If you're going to use it on your broadcast, I would hope that you would invite me to be on your broadcast so I can either defend what I did, and if it was a good thing to do, I don't know if I'll do it again, but if it was a bad thing to do, I'm sure I'm going to want to do it again. Go to the Michael Anthony Facebook page and become his friend. Share what you see on his page. Share the broadcast that you see on his page. They're not all political. Some are, some aren't. Share them in your groups. And share them off of Facebook if you want as well. And who else? Who else? Straight Talk with Jen and Randy is Tuesday and Thursday afternoons at 12 noon Eastern. Go to the Randy Rhodes Facebook page to watch it. It might be on the Jen Woodruff Facebook page at the same time. I don't know what groups Randy shares it to, but go to his profile and watch it. People are entitled to their own opinions. People are entitled to do the broadcasts any way they want, however they want. Okay? The important thing is that you watch, and like I say, take out a notepad and make notes. I even made notes while Bill and I were talking. And I'll review my notes, and I'll make my decisions in life accordingly. Anyway, I'm going to finish the slice of pizza that I have for breakfast. Delilah, my executive producer, had some cheese from the pizza for breakfast, and she finished that. Well, the co-executive producer is hiding. She'll probably come out and eat a little later in the afternoon, or come out and eat dinner. She's not always a morning breakfast eater. Anyway, like I said, live well, live prosper. If Donna and Angela are off doing the craft show at Jacksonville Beach, we'll be on tomorrow to plug that, politics, and anything else that comes out of our mouths. If you want to be a part of that broadcast, please let me know. The link will be on the screen for that one, and I'll use Donna's Chromebook so that if more than one person wants to come on, that's okay. Or I may try this one just to see. We had some problems in the old house with our internet, and this being a old unsupported Chromebook, it acted up, but it seems to be working pretty good. We're back on Xfinity now, and don't seem to be having the problems that we were having with AT&T. So all I'm going to say is, if you're moving or you're looking to get new internet, AT&T broadband isn't the place to go anymore as far as I'm concerned. Xfinity is the place to be. We seem to be getting fantastic internet with all the devices we have on in the house 24 hours a day. Our daughter-in-law works at home, and she's very busy, and it doesn't seem to cause any problems for her. It doesn't seem to cause any problems on the broadcast. So Xfinity, for me, is my recommendation on where you go. Don't get talked into Xfinity for business. If you're doing a broadcast like I am, just get regular, the highest speed Xfinity you can get, and it works fine. Because if you start making it sound like you're going to be using it for business, they will try to convince you to become a business account. And business account means pretty much you pay for the same high-speed services that you would get if you just don't say you're a business, just say you're a person and you want it for your house and whatever. Anyway, I'm Dave Blowman, you're not. Thank you for watching Double B's for Victory. This Boogie with the Bull broadcast is going to come to an end. We are going to do one final check because I always like to do one final check before we go. 165 people are watching. It's time for you to get to work or go on and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for watching. Thanks for watching Red Friday Morning Caffeine with Bill Muckler and I. Please share the broadcast. Please invite your friends to join us Fridays at 10 a.m. Eastern. Next Wednesday, like I said, 9/11/24 is going to be our 9/11 broadcast, plus whatever else comes out of our mouths. If you want to be a part of that broadcast, please let me know. Only 8 of us can be on the screen at any one time. If there are more than 8 people that want to be involved, we may have to rotate people, and I mean that will actually happen. The 7 Some of the seminars you may get rotated so other people can come on. If you want to write a portion of the broadcast, a testimony of your own, you can. I'll give you an email address and you can send it to me, and I'll make sure my printer is wired up, and you can email it to me, and I will print it out, and I will read it and go over it with you. And then, like I said, if you don't want to be on the broadcast, I'd appreciate anything you want to write, or come into the live chat and be a part of the conversation. This is the one time I'll let you get away with paragraph size comments. Really appreciate everybody who watches. So once again, Monday and Wednesday morning caffeine, 10 a.m. Eastern. Tuesday and Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. Friday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern, Red Friday morning caffeine with Bill Muckler and I. Remember, everybody deployed, everyone deployed. And we go from there. Again, if they go and do the craft show tomorrow and I have access to the bedroom studio, we will be on 10 o'clock if possible. Otherwise, it'll be later. And we'll be promoting the Jacksonville Beach craft fair that they will be at if they're going. If they're not going to go to that show, and I believe they are planning on going, if they are not, there probably won't be a broadcast, because I talked with my therapist yesterday with Donna there with me, and 5 a week is enough, aside from occasionally one kicked in here or there. But I'm not going to kick one in if I can. Anyway, I've said enough. It's 11:38. Go enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to go finish the rest of my pizza. It was really good pizza that we had for dinner last night. A friend of my grandson's suggested it, and it was really good. Matter of fact, maybe someday we'll talk about really good pizza. You can talk about your favorite pizza parlor near you and how you like your pizza done. Anyway, I'm Dave Globin. Didn't have any caffeine this morning. We used Gatorade lemon lime because I forgot to brew a cup of coffee, or asked Donna to brew me a cup of coffee. So we did it straight. It was actually pretty good. Anyway, I'm Dave Globin. You're on Double Beats for Victory. This Boogie with the Bull broadcast is going to come to an end. Come up here and hit this. One more time. Double Beats for Victory. This Boogie with the Bull broadcast is going to come to an end. If you missed any portion of it, wait about 15 minutes for it to hit on. Actually, wait about 15 minutes. And everywhere we posted it on Facebook. So if you're in any of my groups, or you're in a group that I'm an admin in, it is probably in there. We did put it in a few other groups. We did put it in Donald Trump assassination attempt investigation official group. And the only thing they request is that we talk about the Trump assassination attempt in the broadcasts. And that way they promise that they will let the broadcast be posted in there, because a lot of the broadcasts are not about the Trump assassination. I still think it is, or it was, a conspiracy theory. I think the plan was to execute President Trump. I do not believe that the shooter just went there with a rifle and climbed up on top of that building and decided he was going to shoot President Trump. I believe there were more people involved, and we will never, actually, maybe once President Trump is back in the White House, all the documentation of the thousands of pages of reports and maybe any congressional testimony so far and any further will be released to the American people, because we have a right to know. And if President Trump is elected, I look forward to having the Warren Commission report, as every other American should, and maybe even working with occasional executive producer Michael Anthony and some others, and maybe going through the Warren Commission report Maybe Jen Woodruff will join us for that. When Michael can't, maybe Michael will join us when Jen can't. Who knows? Maybe Michael and Jen will join each other when I can't. Anyway, I thank you for watching. And if we aren't on tomorrow, then we'll be on Monday morning for Monday Morning Caffeine. But you can always read my commentary on my Facebook page, in our groups. Our groups. You'll see it in other groups that I'm in. And enjoy the weekend. I'll see you soon. Thank you. Bye.